Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasul Allah. My present appointment as the head of an electrical department in a university in London. For the first half of my life, before that, I worked in industry, the latter few years designing very large electrical machines. So most of my life has professionally been devoted to electrical engineering primarily, also mechanical engineering, and I have spent much of the rest of my time studying and researching in parapsychology, psychical research. I am here in this conference because you, my colleague, and I decided that we would offer a paper on some unusual states of consciousness which are not very much the concern of normal science, but which are certainly dealt with in the Quran and Hadith.
I would just like to add that our findings together showed in the paper which has been presented to the conference that this coincides with the Quranic ayat which I may read in Arabic. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الله يتوفى الأنفس حين موتها والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى إلى أجل مسمى إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون.
We read a paper on altered states of consciousness of the human being called out of the body experiences, lucid dreaming and near-death experiences. Our paper dealt with altered states of consciousness of human beings, states of consciousness different from ordinary physical space.
الله يتوفى الأنفس حين موتها والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى إلى أجل مسمى إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون.
We considered three particular states of consciousness, the first being the out-of-body experience, in which many human beings for indeed many thousands of years have had the experience of floating outside their physical body in another body usually, but not always, and seeing their physical body lying on the bed after interesting experiences, later returning to it. That normally takes place with no break in consciousness from getting in bed to finally having the experience of returning to the body. The other kind of state of consciousness that we dealt with was lucid dreaming. In lucid dreaming, one also has an experience of moving around what looks like the physical world. Sometimes it's in a world which can be altered by the dreamer. The lucid dreamer, the word lucid, means the dreamer is well aware that they are dreaming and that their physical body is in another place, perhaps back home in bed. They remember the things they did earlier and they remember the things they're going to do the following day. it has been found possible to communicate with a lucid dreamer through the action of their physical body. For example, a lucid dreamer remembers that he discussed an experiment with the experimenters. He can flick his eyes to and fro and produce electrical activity in the muscles which move his eyes, and that will signal to the experimenters in their ordinary state of consciousness that the experiment is about to begin. And then he can perhaps lift a weight and let a weight down to the ground again in his dream, and it has been found that certain electrical activity occurs in the muscles of his arms and legs. That is the sort of experiment that can be done to study that particular state of consciousness called lucid dreaming. The final of the three states of consciousness we considered in our paper was the near-death experience. During the last 20 years or so, it has been possible for doctors to resuscitate people, patients, subjects who are clinically dead. That is, they have no heartbeat, no breathing, no electrical brain activity which can be recorded. Any doctor would pronounce them dead. Sometimes subjects having experience of that kind have heard themselves pronounced by a doctor or by other friends around or others to be dead. They have then had the experience of hearing a rushing, roaring noise, rather like a wind, and then moving along a dark tunnel and coming out into the light. Until relatively recently, as I explained, I didn't know very much about the scientific work which is to be found in these religious teachings. Finding out about that made me think very deeply. But I was very surprised to learn quite recently of the scientific statements which are to be found in Quran and Hadith. I was very surprised to find that there are these statements about psychical research matters, which Dr. Yahya has quoted.
الله يتوفى الأنفس حين موتها والتي لم تمت في منامها فيمسك التي قضى عليها الموت ويرسل الأخرى إلى أجل مسمى إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون.
I was also very surprised to hear other Western scientists quote statements in the Quran about embryology and about geology and various other medical matters.
The stages of embryonic and fetal development mentioned in the Quran should be used when teaching Muslim students because they are in accordance with our modern understanding of the development before birth. It will also enable Muslim doctors and nurses to explain human development to their patients using Quranic references.
Some of those facts not having been discovered until the years of the present century. As the Quran and Hadith are some 1400 years old, that surprised me very much and made me wonder what the source could be.
Muhammad could not have known these facts about human development in the 7th century because most of them were not discovered until the 20th century. Muslims and others are justified in concluding that these facts could only have been revealed to Muhammad by the one who knows all about us, not only about how we developed, but how we live and function.
I called myself Abdullah Ellison.